I must be the greatest. I told the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
Muhammad Ali will be remembered as one of the greatest sportsmen in history.
There's never been a fighter like him, and there never will be again.
A wonderful athlete, a wonderful boxer, but I think most of all a wonderful human being.
Ali dazzled the world with his showmanship, shuffle and wit.
I saw Sonny Liston a few days ago, Cassius. Ain't he ugly?
Ali was born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. in Louisville, Kentucky on January the 17th, 1942. After his bicycle was stolen, Clay began boxing when he was 12. He won 2 national titles before taking Olympic gold in Rome in 1960 when he was just 18. It's rumoured he threw his medal into the Ohio River after he was refused service at a whites-only restaurant on his return to the US. On October the 29th, 1960, Cassius Clay won his first professional fight, a 6-round decision over Tony Hunsaker. From his second fight, he trained under Angelo Dundee in Miami. Flash, brash and cocky, he burst onto the scene.
A dynamite right sends Archie Moore crashing to the floor.
He became the Louisville Lip, which wasn't to everyone's taste.
I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
Let me see you close your mouth and just keep it closed.
Well, you know that's impossible.
No, keep it closed.
You know that's impossible. I'm the greatest.
British fans first saw Clay when Henry Cooper knocked him down with a famous left hook at the end of the 4th round at Highbury in 1963. Angelo Dundee infamously brought Clay time in the corner, and Cooper, who was cut badly, was stopped in the 5th.
And now he's slipping in, and I think this is it. The count has come in from Cooper's corner.
Clay constantly called out the much-feared world heavyweight champion Sonny Liston, and the match was made for February 1964. At the weigh-in, Ali, who had dubbed Liston the Big Ugly Bear, declared that he would float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
If you like to lose your money, be a fool and bet on Sonny.
Ali was a huge underdog, but once again he was spot on, and Liston retired in his corner after 6 rounds in Miami Beach.
I must be the greatest. I told the world. I talk to God every day. I am the king of the world.
Hold it.
I'm pretty.
Hold it, you're not that pretty.
I'm a bad man.
Wait.
I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
At the time, the US was a volatile place, with the assassination of President Kennedy, the acceleration of the Vietnam War, and the fight for civil rights. Clay announced his allegiance to the black Muslim movement, the Nation of Islam, and Muhammad Ali was born.
Cassius Clay is a name no more, is that right?
Yes, sir. It's Muhammad Ali.
In May 1965, Ali knocked out Liston in the first round of their rematch, with what became known as the Phantom Punch. There's long been debate about whether the innocuous right genuinely hurt Liston, or whether he threw the fight. In November that year, Ali stopped the former champion Floyd Patterson in 12, but early in 1966, his differences with the US government over Vietnam began to affect his career. Ali was now unpromotable in the US and took his title on the road, successfully defending it 9 times, including a 6-round stoppage against Henry Cooper at Wembley and a 3rd-round knockout of fellow Brit Brian London.
Muhammad Ali is still the undefeated world heavyweight champion and looks like he's at his brilliant best.
He was just extraordinarily fast. These movements were very, very good. I wish I'd have been as good as him.
Arguably, Ali lost the best years of his career. The New York Commission had stripped him of his heavyweight title, but Ali had stood up for his rights.
Even if it means facing machine gun fire that day, I will face it before denouncing Elijah Muhammad and the religion of Islam. I'm ready to die.
And here was a guy who stood up for his own convictions in the face of tremendous pressure and proved in the end that his positions were correct.
Even exiled in the ring, Ali transcended the sport and was still a massive attraction.
We look at Miss America, we see white. We look at Miss World, we see white. We look at Miss Universe, we see white. Even Tarzan, the king of the jungle in back Africa, he's white. Who's the heavyweight champion of the world?
By 1971, Smoking Joe Frazier was the king. Ali and Frazier that year met in Madison Square Garden. Both were undefeated, and the fight didn't disappoint. Frazier floored Ali in the 15th round and won on points. It was Ali's first defeat. After 10 wins then around the world, including victory over Joe Bugner, He was upset by a former US Marine, Ken Norton, on a split decision in March 1973. Norton broke Ali's jaw. He would exact revenge, and it would lead to one of the most famous sporting occasions. October 1974, Kinshasa, Zaire. The Rumble in the Jungle.
Tremendous guy, broke the barrier, gave a guy like myself an opportunity in the land of opportunity. Never could have happened without a guy like Muhammad Ali.
No one gave Ali a hope, but he proved his genius with one of the most audacious tactical plans ever, letting the huge-hitting unbeaten champion blast away while he employed his rope-a-dope strategy until Foreman had punched himself out.
I beat him the first round. I beat him pretty good the second round. The third round, I beat him real bad. The sixth round, I really put it on him. And then about the seventh round, I hit him in the side real hard, and he kind of fell to me. And then when he fell on me, he said, "That's all you got, George?" I'm thinking, yep, that's about it.
In the eighth round, Ali knocked Foreman out to regain his crown. It was more than 7 years since he'd been stripped of his title.
People feared for his life that night, and yet he came through victorious. He came through in a style that nobody would ever thought he would do, and he proved everybody wrong.
I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all time.
Soon afterwards, Ali accepted a third fight with Joe Frazier in the Philippines. The Thriller in Manila in October 1975 was an absolute epic. Frazier was pulled out at the end of the 14th by trainer Eddie Futch.
It's all over!
Both had given everything. After that fight, a decline in Ali's physical and mental well-being was noticeable. Even so, it was a huge surprise in 1978 when Leon Spinks beat Ali over 15 rounds. At the age of 36, Ali was a former champion. Later that year, though, Ali rewrote the record books, beating Spinks in a rematch. Ali would lose to Larry Holmes and Trevor Burbeck in the 1980s before in 1984 he revealed he had Parkinson's syndrome. He threw himself into charity work and became an inspiration to many.
I was 9 years old and I used to train in this gymnasium called the Resurrection Gymnasium. And who walks in? Muhammad Ali in the sweatsuit, puts on his gloves, nobody bothered him, starts hitting the heavy bag. He would kid around with everybody. We would take pictures with him. Such a wonderful guy.
This is probably the greatest day my gym's ever had. 4 hours just telling jokes, doing magic tricks, working out, hitting the heavy bag, flirting with the girls. He was the greatest.
In 1996, he had the honour of lighting the flame at the Atlanta Olympics, a courageous but emotional sight to see. Many believe his condition was a symbol of the costs involved in the hardest sport of all. Ali was married 4 times and had 9 children. One daughter, Layla, became a fighter. He, though, was without question one of the finest heavyweight boxers of all time.
I doubt if the world was to revolve on its axis for another 1,000,000 years, there'll never be another Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, ever.
He never shied from controversy, an activist as well as a sporting legend.
Every head must bow, every knee must bend, every tongue must confess, thou art the greatest of all times, Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali was indeed, by his own frank admission, the greatest.